Wondra sits in a jail cell. He is back in Idaho, accused of killing young Michael Vaughn.
You're pure evil. You have no heart. You have no soul.
Wondra is accused of murdering her then 5-year-old son in 2021. Would you think you'll ever get the answer as to why?
No, because there is no answer to why. Why would somebody hurt an innocent little boy? What answer could you give? What answer could you possibly give? How scared was he? Did he ask for me? Did he ask for Tyler?
Stacey Wondra has been charged with first-degree murder and second-degree kidnapping and destruction of evidence.
Michael Monkey Vaughn went missing from his Fruitland neighborhood on July 27, 2021.
This is a criminal investigation.
Now, more than 4 years later, in newly unsealed court documents, Fruitland police named 4 people they believed are involved in Michael's murder. Those 4 names are ones we've heard before.
This is Sarah Wondra. This is Sarah's husband, Stacey Wondra. This is Brandon Shirtliff, Adrian Lucian.
As for what these 4 people have in common, they were all staying at the Wondras' home when Michael disappeared in 2021. That's just half a mile from Michael's home where he was last seen. In the PCA, police pointed to video evidence they say showing Shirtliff walking around the neighborhood. They say Shirtliff helped move Michael's body in a duffel bag temporarily to his mom's home in Kuna before standing guard as they buried him in the Wondras' Fruitland backyard. Stacey Wondra told police the 4 hoped to sell Michael for $10,000 each. He says the idea came from Adrian Lucian. Idaho News 6 is now learning Lucian was arrested and released in Indiana in October for a traffic-related misdemeanor. Sarah Wondra is currently serving time in the Idaho State Prison System for unrelated charges. She is eligible for parole in early 2026.
Karen, is there any connection between the Vaughn family and the home where police had been searching?
No, we've heard this more than once from the family representatives and from the police department that there is no connection between the Vaughn family and the home where this search took place.
As you know, from the time Michael went missing, this has been an all-hands-on-deck investigation, and it remains very active and an ongoing investigation. You can't take one of our most precious citizens from us and ever expect us to stop. During the course of this investigation to date, we received credible information that the remains of Michael Vaughn could be found in the backyard at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland. As a result, the Fruitland Police Department obtained a search warrant for the residence along with the front and backyards. That search warrant was served on November 11th. It was a Friday. We served that late in the evening. Upon entry, officers encountered Sarah Wondra, one of the known occupants of the home, and Sarah was subsequently arrested based on probable cause that she had knowledge of Michael's death and failed to report that death to law enforcement. The following day, the Fruitland Police Department, joined by the Idaho State Police, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, the Fruitland Fire Department, and the Fruitland Public Works Department, began a very methodical excavation of the backyard of the Wondras' home. During that excavation process, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, Mountain States detection dogs deployed multiple certified human remains detection dogs on the property, all of them alerting to the presence of human remains. Ground penetrating radar was also used and deployed, detecting anomalies in the backyard. We completed the excavation of the entire backyard and removed over 250 yards of dirt. Prior to backfilling the yard, the dirt was meticulously sifted for any potential human remains. We did not find Michael's remains. Although the remains of Michael Vaughn were not recovered, we strongly believe, based on evidence, that Michael was abducted and is deceased, and that his remains were buried and later moved from the property. As of today, the whereabouts of his remains are unknown. However, the investigation is active, fluid, and ongoing. Once the excavation was complete, we conducted a thorough search of the Wondras' residence. The search was productive, and additional investigative evidence was recovered and is currently being processed.
An hour's worth of body camera footage showing Stacey Wondra FaceTiming with detectives and directing to where Monkey's body was buried in his backyard.
It's like right under that mound area.
It's right under the mound, about where at compared to the trees?
A little like right to the right of the trees area. It should be, it should be a garbage bag.
Okay, what color is the garbage bag?
It would either be white or black. We only had two colors.
Is the duct tape still going to be over his mouth?
It should be.
Okay.
I didn't watch take them off.
Okay.
So you should have everything intact as it was.
He claims he watched the burial happen.
Okay. How far down is Michael?
I don't know how far she actually dug.
And the she he's referring to, that's his wife Sarah, another suspect in the case. Stacey says Adrian, a third suspect, was also there for the burial.
Out of 300 homes, police say canines tracked Michael's scent to the home where Stacey, his wife Sarah, and their two roommates Brandon Shurtleff and Adrian Lucien lived.
As Joe mentioned, a newly released probable cause affidavit filed in June lays out the interviews following Michael's disappearance. Again, during these initial searches, police say canines tracked Michael's scent to the fence line of the home where Stacey Wondra, his wife Sarah, and their two roommates, Brandon Shurtleff and Adrian Lucien, lived. All four of those individuals have been named people of interest in Michael's disappearance. One of Michael's neighbors told police they saw Michael riding a bike outside of the Wondra's home the day that he disappeared. Another neighbor said they saw that same tricycle at the Wondra's home during a garage sale months before Michael disappeared. The Wondras initially denied any involvement, but then in November of 2022, Stacey asked to meet with investigators. The PCA states Stacey claims he was home the night Michael was allegedly abducted and saw Sarah carrying Michael into the house. Stacey allegedly told police it was Adrian's idea to take a child to sell for money, and they would get a $10,000 cut. Stacey claims Sarah told everyone to, quote, follow her lead. Stacey told investigators they took him to Brandon's mother's home in Kuna that night, where they left Michael overnight. Stacey claims the other three returned to Brandon's mom's house the next day and brought Michael back to the Wanderer's home in Fruitland. Stacey told police Michael was not alive, and Sarah and Adrian buried him in the Wanderer's backyard. 2 days after Stacey's interview with police, they executed a search warrant and excavated the Wanderer's backyard. The affidavit says cadaver dogs alerted to the same area where Stacey told detectives Michael's body was buried, but to this day, Michael has not been found.
Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Today is March 13th, 2026. It's Friday the 13th. Welcome into Missing PNW Crimes Revisited. My name is Samantha. I appreciate everybody coming, showing the Vaughn family support and supporting Michael Vaughn. Let's just see who's here today. Plead the Fifth is here. Missing persons around the world. Thank you so much for coming in, Sarah. Yankee Kyle is here. Ashley Higgins, Chuck Anderson's daughter, Jen. Thank you guys all for joining today. We have Diana Bond, Suzanne Goins. Let's see. G. Renee. Kim is in the house. Hair Curlers in Crime. Has the best YouTube name on the YouTube streets. Suzanne, thank you so much for coming in. Lana is here, the Lana Effect. Thank you so much for joining. Let's see. Brownie is here. Rhonda is also here. Chuck Anderson's daughter just gave somebody a missing PNW revisited, crimes revisited membership. Thank you so much, love. Let's do a little dance. I really do appreciate that so much. Callie Dime is in the house. Thank you for coming in, love. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in. Please hit that like button when you come in. It really helps with the algorithm. Thank you for that. It really does. My beautiful moderators coming in on a spur of the moment. I posted my thumbnail so late today. Nice Marie is here. Dawn Latterman is here. We've got Ellie. Thank you guys all for coming in. Avi is also here. Good to see you, honey. Rhonda is here. Let's see. Nice to see so many faces, familiar and new. Welcome into Missing PNW. So glad to have the new faces. My daughter Tabitha is here. Good to see you, honey. Baby Kisses is in the house. Shadow. I don't know if I'm missing everybody, but I really, really do appreciate you coming in. I know Michael Vaughan's family appreciates all of you for coming in. The support that has been given from Monkey's Army is just amazing. I'm truly blessed to be a part of Monkey's Army, and I'm so happy that we stand strong, and we stand strong with the family. Today, I'm going to start off my live a little bit different, just because the past couple of weeks have been very difficult for the Vaughans, for their family, and many of us who have watched this case for, 4.5 years. I've spoken with a lot of people, and everybody's been having a very difficult time with all of the news information that's been coming out from Stacey Wondra's preliminary hearing. Today, we are going to go over the news coverage from Stacey's preliminary hearing. Brandi Vaughan speaks to so many reporters, and I really think it's important for us not only to support her and Tyler and the Vaughan family. And yeah, I just want to do today a little bit different on a softer note to get going. If you can in chat, please put up a bunch of blue hearts for Monkey and his family, and take a moment to remember Monkey. I am going to throw up the tip line phone number in case anybody has any information. The tip line phone number is 208-642-6006, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org. Monkey's Army has a message for the Vaughan family, so please continue to throw up blue hearts for Michael Joseph Vaughan. Brandi and Tyler, you are both remarkable parents who've been advocating for justice for Michael. Despite your unimaginable pain, you've both shown incredible strength and resilience, using your voices to raise awareness and push for answers. In interviews and public statements, you've expressed determination to keep fighting for Monkey, even when the process seems to be slow. You've been open about your emotions, from panic and grief, guilt, to determination and hope. Your strength is not just about advocating for justice, but also about keeping Monkey's memory alive. Brandi and Tyler, your strength and love for Monkey is inspiring to all of Monkey's Army. Monkey's Army is thinking of you and your family, standing with you in this fight for justice. Keep holding on to hope and know that you're not alone. You are doing everything you can, and that's something to be proud of. We love you guys so much. Such remarkable parents dealing with such a hard tragedy. And we just really want you all to know how much we love you, how much we think about you, how much we hurt with you. We feel your pain. We're sorry that this happened to you and your family. It's the most unimaginable thing that any parent, any brother or sister or papa or auntie or uncle could ever go through. None of us will ever completely understand what you've gone through. And we will continue to support you, to be here for you when you need us. It's been a very, very difficult couple weeks. I know you guys are having nightmares. I know I'm having nightmares. My daughter's having nightmares. Just know we're here for you. We support you. Michael is so beautiful. He sounds so much like Buggy. I spend so much time looking at Monkey's pictures because they keep me going. And I'm thankful that you guys love taking pictures and videos of Monkey. You guys have so many. Again, if anybody out there has a tip, please turn it in to Fruitland Police Department at 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. Michael is not forgotten. He will never be forgotten. And we stand tall with the Vaughn family every day. Thank you guys all so much. It's just been a really emotional past couple weeks, and we need to just lighten it up a little bit. It's been so hardcore, my brain hurts. It hurts so much. I also wanted to share with you guys me and my daughter's travels to Idaho. We had an amazing trip. Wait, let me rewind this. Hold on one second. There we go. This is a picture of me and Brandi together. I was finally able to meet her after going to Idaho. This is a picture of me and Brandi, Tyler, and Pidge, because I also got to meet Pidge and Buggy and Papa. And this is a picture of me and Lana and Brandi together. I got to meet such amazing people while I was gone. This was Brandi sending me a picture before she went to leave to court, asking me how she looked, and she's beautiful and she's strong and she looks amazing since she had her liver surgery. So beautiful. There's Brandi talking to news reporters outside of the courthouse. She did that every single day after leaving the courthouse, walking out, bound and determined to bring awareness for Monkey. I found this beautiful picture that somebody took from one of the news stations. They love each other so much, the way they look at each other, the way that they love each other, the way that they depend on each other's strength to get through everything they're dealing with is just beautiful and also heartbreaking. This is my daughter Tabitha with Miss Brandi. Such a beautiful, beautiful picture. This was right after my daughter and Brandi talked about this rock. There's 2 pieces to this rock, and Brandi was going to give Tabitha both of those rocks. And Tabitha handed one of the rocks back to Brandi and said, how about you have one and I'll have one, and we know that, you know, we each carry both sides of this rock, and they're forever connected now. This was a picture of Bubba and Brandi that got sent to me when Brandi was just thanking me for all that I do before I left to go to Idaho. And she also sent me another picture of her and Pidge together. It really, really warmed my day. This is a bulletin board in the courthouse. It had Monkey's flyer that I took a picture of. My daughter also took a picture of. And then my daughter put Monkey's blue ribbon there on the cork board. This was a beautiful photo that my daughter took standing outside the Vaughans' house when the sun was going down. Brandi told me, you have to come over and look over by our house during the sunset because it's absolutely beautiful. You guys can't miss it. And this night, the dog got loose. And Brandi and Tyler are chasing down the dog while me and Tabitha are entertaining Buggy singing Frozen songs and playing with her as she screams very, very, very loud for her dog, bragging about, look how loud I can scream for him. And we just kept telling her, oh my gosh, you're so loud. He's got to come home now. And then they finally brought the dog back, but Tabitha caught an amazing picture of the sunset. The mountains in that area are just absolutely beautiful. They're kind of off in the distance there. Here's my daughter on the way home taking pictures of stuff outside the window. We traveled up through the Columbia River Gorge, which is just beautiful, beautiful scenery. The clouds looked like they were so close to us on the way home, and we couldn't stop taking pictures of the snow on the mountains, of the river, Columbia River. You know, we were actually very quiet on the way home because it was just a very intense week. And we talked all the way to Fruitland, though, all the way. We could not shut up about making it to Fruitland. My daughter couldn't believe how big those what are those things called, babe? He can't think because he's sick. Windmills. Thank you. Oh, I wanted to back up a little bit. This right here was a picture being all over the news, and there's Stacey Wondra, and I'm staring at him. I'm the girl here in the checkered shirt, and I got a message from my sister. I was looking at the news, and I'm seeing the back of my sister's head staring at Stacey Wondra. I was like, what? So she sent me this picture. And then this was just some video that my daughter took we kept seeing all of these trails, cow trails, cows everywhere. And these trails were going up all these mountainsides and stuff. And we just couldn't believe how high all these cows were climbing. And then at some points we were just like, where are the people that take care of these cows? Because then we didn't see any houses. Really, I mean, we did see a few, but not many. So,
Look.
Those trainers or cow herders, are having to get on their little motorcycles or horses or whatever to go out and herd their horses in. Yeah, it's just free range out there for real, Rowan. And then I got sent this video by Brandi after I came home. Buggy is sitting at her laptop. She's very emotional. She is watching Disney characters at Disneyland, and all of these children are coming over and hugging the Disney characters and stuff. And Buggy is like, look, all of these kids have come home. They're finding, I think she says, they're finding their parents or something. It was, when Brandi sent me this, it was just so heartbreaking. She doesn't understand, when it comes to Michael and Michael being gone. So I'm just going to play this video and let you guys hear it.
Look, this girl fell and Stitch came to help and Stitch fell and this girl got up and
I love you.
I'm trying to help Stitch. Look, this girl was lost. Austin found her mom. This little boy found his dad.
Baby, they're at Disneyland, honey.
Yeah, I know. But they found their parents because they got lost, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, she thinks these kids have gotten lost. And she's like, this girl found her mom and this boy found his dad.
I think they're with their families.
Yeah, I think those are their parents dressed up as
Well, there's a
Disney
place
characters.
where Disney characters are dressed up all the time. They're not lost to your heart. Hey.
Oh, what's this little baby? He's touching his nose.
I love you.
Look,
I see. She wanted to go. Yes.
she wanted to help Stitch.
Oh. No more tears, baby.
She took off her hat and hugged her. Who are those people? I don't remember that show.
I'm not sure. I love you, bud.
I love you.
Oh, baby.
And here is a video of Monkey that was sent to me by Brandi a while back ago.
Why you gotta ruin everything?
Being his crazy monkey self.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Watching him go crazy like that is just so funny. I'm so happy they have so many videos and pictures. That one was my favorite. Kelly said, poor baby smacked his head on the mirror and didn't even flinch. Is that what he did? Smack his head? Oh, wow. His laugh is everything. And my daughter and I were talking today when I had her send me some pictures. And she had watched a recent video that I put up of Michael searching for things on Easter. You can see little Buggy, little bitty baby sitting there on Easter and stuff. And my daughter's like, I watched that video and I cried because I didn't know how much Michael sounded like Buggy. She's like, I will never forget Buggy's voice. Yeah, and then he laughs about it, exactly. Yeah, you can hear it smack, and he just keeps going. Boys will be boys, right? So yeah, I actually created a few different playlists in my YouTube, and I went through and got each day. So day 1, which was the status conference. Day 2 was the first day of the preliminary hearing. Then we've got 3 and 4. 4 was the day that we know Stacey Wondra was told he was going to trial. 4 suspects named in Michael's case is Stacey Wondra, Sarah Wondra, Adrian Lucien, and Brandon Shirliffe, and Monkey's Army and the Vaughn family wants justice, and justice will be served. It's already coming. And we see that now that we know that Stacey Wondra's had his preliminary trial or preliminary hearing, and he's going to trial. He's going to trial. These monsters will not get away with what they have done. So we can just start going through the playlist, and you know, my goal for today is to just show the Vaughn family support. I mean, Brandi Vaughan is very courageous going up in front of these cameras every single day, and not with just one news reporter, multiple every single day. And I think I just want to show Brandi and Tyler and the family some love. So while we're watching and going through the news clips, if I hear something interesting that reminds me of something that we saw or heard in the preliminary hearing, we can talk about it. But really just want to show the family a lot of support. I mean, it's not easy getting up in front of a camera. It's just not. Oh, let me see here. I think I saw something. Thank you for sharing. It tears me up, and I am glad Michael and Brandi and his mom and a lovely family taken too soon. It should have never happened. Yeah, it should have never happened. And none of us, you know, can quite understand why. That one question, why? Why did God allow this to happen to Monkey? And there's no answer to that. There is no answer. Michael should still be with us. He would be turning 10, I think, this next June. So let me just get up here and start going through these news clips. This is just from the first day, all of these. And like I said, we're going to go through day 1, 2, 3, 4. I got and collected as many news clips as I possibly could. We're probably going to hear the same thing a few times, but I think it's really important to go through news clips. I love news clips. I use news clips not only to make shorts, but I use news clips because sometimes they catch things that I didn't catch, and they're really good, especially when the news reporters are reporting good news. So let's just go over this one first.
Give me your name so I have it on file.
Mhm.
Even though I know your name, say your name for me.
Brandi Christine Vaughan.
Okay. What was it like to be in the courtroom with Stacey Wondra today?
Nerve-wracking. I want to say things to him. I want to ask many, many questions, and I have to be quiet.
You have to be quiet.
Yes.
If you had the opportunity today to say something to him, what would you have asked him?
Where's Michael? What did you do to him?
Can you guys hear this okay? Just give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear it well. Do I need to turn anything up, or are we good? All right, thank you guys.
Who took him? Who picked him up? Where is Michael? That's what I would. I know if I'd ask it over and over and over again.
Very strong. Tell us about the blue ribbons.
So these are from a dear friend that has been keeping Michael's story in social media, in the public eye, so nobody would forget about Michael. And they came down from quite far away, and from Washington. Yep. Yeah. And they made these for people. Their little monkey and hang.
So cool.
My daughter Tabitha and my 5-year-old granddaughter actually made the ribbons, and my granddaughter kept passing all the monkeys to mom. And then in this package of monkeys, my granddaughter found a cross that wasn't supposed to be in the package. So she wanted the cross, so mommy made a ribbon with a cross and a monkey on it for her. These were a huge hit in Fruitland. It really was. Tabitha, you did an amazing job. It was a great idea.
Cool. And these cards, I assume there's plenty of these floating around?
Yes, there is. And if anybody needs or would like me to drop some off, I have plenty of those that I can still bring by.
You've seen this.
The age progression photo.
Age progression, thank you. Thank you, Brandi. How close is that to what Michael looks like today?
I think he would look like that today. When they did that, I thought he looked a little bit older for his age, but they did an amazing job. They really took their time, and the extensive of information and that goes into an age progression photo is incredible.
I know there's things that you can and cannot talk about as far as the prosecution in this case with the prosecutor, Mr. Duke, but are they still receiving tips?
Yes. Yes, sir.
And they have to follow up on every one of those tips?
Yes, sir. Yes, they do.
And still we don't know where Michael is?
Correct.
As of today?
Correct.
How's your family? How are you and your family doing? I know I've asked you this, you've answered this question probably too much, but how are you guys doing today?
We're strong. We're strong. We're well. And we're here for justice for Michael. So we are well.
What kind of, talk about the support that you've received here in Payette County?
In Payette County?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Endless meals at times when things were happening. Especially helping generosity when I had to travel to Utah for my liver transplant. People were wanting to help feed meals, take the kids to babysit, or it has never stopped. The support and the prayers and the kindness from the Payette community, Treasure Valley.
A lot of love.
Lot of love.
That's what gets you through it, right?
Yes.
Did you try to make eye contact
yes,
with Stacey Wondra
absolutely.
Today? And?
As soon as he made eye contact with me, his eyes darted away real quick and he got very red in the face. I hope he's uncomfortable seeing me. I hope he sees Michael's face every time he sees me. I hope they all do.
I see it. So you know he sees it.
Exactly.
Okay. Anything you want to add? Do you have any questions? Okay, good. Thank you. I don't want to take too much of your time.
Mm-hmm.
Nate, explain to me.
I mean, can you guys even, how hard was it for Brandi and Tyler to sit in a courtroom with Stacey Wondra sitting right there? I cannot even imagine how difficult that was. I just cannot. And that stare down that she talks about, me and my daughter witnessed that firsthand. Matter of fact, my daughter told me I was looking at Stacey at the same time, and she stared him down. He looked away, turned beet red. There was no, like, Brandi won that stare down for sure. He could not even keep looking at Brandi. But this is the first time they've been in the same room with Stacey. And any parent, knowing what these monsters have done, wouldn't want to just go right over the railing. You know, we've seen that happen in other cases. It had to have been so difficult not to.
Well, first of all, so I have it on tape.
Yes.
Your name, spelling, and title.
Nate Poppino, Poppino, Court Communications Manager for the Judicial Branch.
Today's proceedings.
Yes.
Explain what it meant and what it means going forward.
So this week, the court is holding a preliminary hearing. This is a step where the magistrate court will hear evidence on whether there's probable cause to send the charges on to district court in a full trial.
No jury selected for this case.
This is not a jury step, no.
But witnesses could be called in.
There may be testimony. There may be, yes. Okay. Essentially, this is a
preliminary hearing. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's play Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
A preliminary hearing is to
basically establish if there's, again, probable cause, the underlying foundation for the charges to advance. So charges are filed, case is set up before the magistrate judge here. This step essentially confirms whether there's enough to the charges to send the case on to the district level,
and that there's no date,
which is where the trial would happen.
Right, and the trial date will come after this.
Trial dates would all
come after this part of the case, right?
Yes, I apologize. I shouldn't be talking over you.
No.
Yeah. So if the judge finds probable cause, send the charges on. We have the two tiers of the two types of trial courts: magistrate and district. All criminal cases start in the magistrate level. Misdemeanors stay at the magistrate level. So if this was a misdemeanor case, it would stay with the current judge and go on to trial. But because this has felony charges, yes, if the judge who's currently overseeing the case finds probable cause, finds that they've met the bar for the charges to advance, then the case will be moved to the district level with a district judge. There will be an arraignment with that district judge, where the defendant would get a chance to enter a plea if they wish, and things get initially set up at the district level, and then from there they'd move on to trial setting and other pretrial things.
The timeline of the prelim could be anything from a day to a week.
They've set aside 4 days for this one. I don't know if it's going to take all 4 days.
Perfect. That's all I need.
Great.
I just had one quick question. So this is about the prosecution laying out, Judge, we do have enough evidence here.
Exactly.
What is the defense's role in this case then? Are they going to try and say, no, that doesn't count as evidence, and fight each of it? Or it's just, Judge, they don't have enough evidence?
They would have the ability to rebut and to argue against. Yes.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I said it's not common, but it's not unusual for after a preliminary the judge says you don't have a case here.
You do occasionally see, for example, I've seen where there's multiple charges and the judge ends up saying, well, these ones can move forward, but I don't find probable cause for these, this one, we're going to peel it off, but you can proceed with these.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, good. Yeah. How are you and your family doing? I don't know.
So, yeah, that interview is basically just going over what we already kind of know. The Vaughn, or not the Vaughn, Stacey Wondra and his attorneys and the defense go to court. It's a preliminary hearing. The prosecution or the prosecutors have to bring forth enough evidence to bring Stacey Wondra to trial. We do know there was enough evidence to go to trial. That's all the attorney's job was last week, was to prove probable cause.
How are you and your family doing? I know I've asked you this. You've answered this questions probably too much, but how are you guys doing today?
We're strong. We're strong. We're well. And we're here for justice for Michael. So we are well.
Yeah, well, what kind of, talk about the support that you've received here in Payette County?
In Payette County?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Endless meals at times when things were happening. Especially helping generosity when I had to travel to Utah for my liver transplant. People were wanting to help feed meals, take the kids to babysit, or it has never stopped. The support and the prayers and the kindness from the Payette community, Treasure Valley.
A lot of love.
Lot of love.
A lot of love. That's what gets you through it, right?
Yes.
Did you try to make eye contact with Stacey Wondra
absolutely.
Today? And?
As soon as he made eye contact with me, his eyes darted away real quick and he got very red in the face. I hope he's uncomfortable seeing me. I hope he sees Michael's face every time he sees me. I hope they all do.
I see it. So you know he sees it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today, Stacey Wondra, the man accused of kidnapping and killing 5-year-old Michael Vaughn in July of 2021, appeared at the Payette County Courthouse for his status conference. That hearing lasted less than 10 minutes. It was mostly procedural, with the judge asking the prosecution and the defense if they were ready to move forward with the preliminary hearing, which is scheduled to begin tomorrow at 9 a.m. here at the Payette County Courthouse. Right now, that preliminary hearing is scheduled to last a couple of days. Remains to be seen how long it will take. Today in court, Brandi Vaughan, Michael Vaughn's mom, sat in the front row of that courtroom, surrounded by a few friends. Stacey Wondra walked in wearing dress clothes and shackles. Brandi told me that she was shaking when she saw him and she wanted to say something to him, but she knew it wouldn't do any good. She says she is somewhat relieved to finally see some justice in this case, but all along, she has trusted law enforcement. She has trusted the prosecution to bring justice for her son. We will be here all throughout the week, so be sure to tune in to KTVB, ktvb.com, and KTVB Plus for all of the latest on this case.
Brandi was shaking, just like Morgan is saying here, so bad. When me and her hugged for the first time, it was the morning of the status conference. And I thought I was going to have to lift her up onto her feet. She was shaking so bad. Her legs were shaking. Her arms were visibly shaking. Her hands were visibly shaking. And when Tyler walked in, he looked white as a ghost. He had no color to his face. They both were just absolutely so nervous to be in that courtroom. Oh, wait, no, Tyler wasn't there during the status conference. It was just her. She even said she had to drive around the block a few times before she could even get out of the car and come in, because she was by herself, because Tyler had to work that day. It was the next day. Tyler was just pale as a ghost. And we know the second day, Brandi and Tyler both had to, get up on the witness stand and talk about everything that happened that day. These parents not only had to face Stacey Wondra, but they had to talk about what happened to Monkey. and what they were doing that day, the phone calls they were making to one another. And they had to do all of that while sitting in front of Stacey Wondra.
Feels like I'm in panic mode again.
The man accused of kidnapping and killing 5-year-old Michael Vaughn in 2021 appeared in court today for a status conference. I sat in on Stacey Wondra's hearing in Payette County this morning, lasted less than 10 minutes because status conferences are mostly procedural. Stacey walked into the courtroom wearing dress clothes and shackles and took a seat at the defense table with his attorneys. Just feet away, Michael Vaughan's mother, Brandi, sat in the front row surrounded by friends. Stacey Wondra appeared for his status conference in Payette County ahead of his preliminary hearing this week. What was your reaction to seeing Stacey in court?
I started shaking. I wanted to say something so badly. Lots of things. But I know that that's not going to help any. We want justice for Michael, and that's why we're here.
Wondra is charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, destruction of evidence, and persistent violator in connection with the death of little Michael Vaughn, who disappeared in July 2021 from outside his home in Fruitland. During Wondra's brief hearing Monday, the defense and prosecution told the judge they're ready to move forward with the preliminary hearing, which is where the prosecutor, Mike Duke, will argue there's probable cause to move these charges along to district court and a trial.
Discovery, because there's so much in this case, it is still ongoing. And I think both parties are aware of kind of the nature of that.
In Wondra's prelim, an Idaho court spokesperson says there won't be a jury or finding of guilt, but the prosecutor can call witnesses, and the defense can cross-examine and introduce their own evidence.
There will be some truths heard, and it's going to be really emotional. It's going to be hard.
Outside the courthouse, Michael's mom, Brandi, told me she also feels a sense of relief.
Now everybody can see what law enforcement has been doing, what the prosecuting attorney has been doing. They're still working, bringing in leads, following up on them. It's still an active, ongoing investigation.
Stacey's ex-wife, Sarah, and their 2 former roommates, Brandon Shurtleff and Adrienne Lucian, have also been named as suspects in this case. Sarah was charged in 2022 with failing to report Michael's death, but that charge was later dropped. According to Stacey's probable cause affidavit, he's accused of being present during Michael's abduction and later admitted to investigators he watched Sarah carry the boy into their home as part of an alleged scheme to sell the child for $10,000. Wondra also implicated the others in the boy's death by suffocation and burial in the backyard of their Fruitland home, just down the street from the Vaughans. We were there as 5 cadaver dogs later flagged that same location during a search.
I believe it was a coordinated effort. And I believe there's people still conspiring as well.
You saw that blue ribbon on Brandi's shirt there. One of her friends passed these out. It has a little monkey on it because that was the nickname that Michael was affectionately given. Again, Wondra's preliminary hearing will begin at the courthouse tomorrow at 9 a.m. It's scheduled to last all week, but remains to be seen how long it takes. We will, of course, be there. So stay with KTVB, ktvb.com, and KTVB Plus for all of the latest.
Realize.
Yeah, that first day at the status conference and every day after that, I had stood up. Everybody's walking out of the courtroom, and I'm standing there next to Brandi. I thought she was going to start walking, and she looks at me straight in the eyes, and she says, "I am not leaving until he leaves." And she would not walk out of that courtroom until he stood up with his shackles on and walk away. She just never wanted to walk away. The one and only time that Brandi and Tyler walked away was after hearing the horrific stuff that Stacey Wondra said Michael was doing after Sarah brought him into the house. And what parent can continue to sit there and listen to that? No one. Who wants to sit and listen to that? And in some of these news reports that we'll be going over, You will be hearing some disturbing things as we get into like the second and third day. So just be mindful of that and protect your mental health as we move forward. Brandi shows such resilience and strength in front of all of these reporters all the time. She would walk out, she'd always give Morgan like the first interview because they are very close. I've seen them very close with one another several times. And yeah, I mean, she gets her posture going and puts her shoulders back and her head high. Just watching her advocate for Michael, watching her get in front of the news every day, because there were times like Tyler was just like, gosh, I really wish they would just leave her alone for just a minute after we walk out of court. And he goes, I know what she's doing. I know she's doing this for Monkey, to get his name out there. And I'm, telling him the same thing. That's all she's doing. She's just trying to bring that awareness the best way that she can. She's not going to turn down any news station because she knows that that's getting awareness. And Tyler's just not, he doesn't like getting in front of the cameras, and I don't blame him. In times that he has gone in front of the cameras, things that he has said has been misconstrued, and he just doesn't like being in front of the cameras. And Brandi just steps right out there and does it all. And that's okay with Tyler. And he just wishes, if you would have seen how when the family would walk out of the courtroom, how all the reporters try coming up to Brandi immediately, you can totally understand Tyler's frustration. Totally.
My baby's gone. It feels like I'm in panic mode again.
The man accused of kidnapping and killing 5-year-old Michael Vaughn in 2021 appeared in court today for a status conference. I sat in on Stacey Wondra's hearing in Payette County this morning, lasted less than 10 minutes because status conferences are mostly procedural. Stacey walked into the courtroom wearing dress clothes and shackles and took a seat at the defense table with his attorneys. Just feet away, Michael Vaughn's mother, Brandi, sat in the front row surrounded by friends. Stacey Wondra appeared for his status conference in Payette County ahead of his preliminary hearing this week. What was your reaction to seeing Stacey in court?
I started shaking. I wanted to say something so badly. Lots of things. But I know that
this is the one.
Feels like I'm in panic mode.
Hold on a second. This one's the one we watched because we watched that one that was full view. I guess these shorts are almost the same thing. So let's watch.
My baby's gone. It feels like I'm in panic mode again.
Pretty emotional morning there as the man accused of kidnapping and killing 5-year-old Michael Vaughn back in 2021 appeared in court today for a status conference. Our Morgan Romero sat in on Stacey Wondra's hearing in Payette County this morning. And Morgan, these status conferences are pretty brief. They go very quickly. But what did you learn today?
Yeah, it lasted less than 10 minutes because it is really procedural. But while I was in court this morning, Stacey Wondra walked into the courtroom wearing dress clothes and shackles and took a seat at the defense table with his attorneys. And then just feet away, Michael Vaughn's mother, Brandi, who you just heard from, sat in the front row surrounded by friends. And one of those friends I wanted to show you guys passed out these blue ribbons with a monkey, which was Michael's nickname. Stacey Wondra appeared for his status conference in Payette County ahead of his preliminary hearing this week. What was your reaction to seeing Stacey in court?
I started shaking. I wanted to say something so badly. Lots of things. But I know that that's not going to help any. We want justice for Michael, and that's why we're here.
Wondra is charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, destruction of evidence, and persistent violator in connection.
I didn't realize so many of these were the same.
The man charged with murder in the case of missing Fruitland boy Michael Vaughn is back in court. I'm senior reporter Don Nelson outside the Payette County Courthouse with reaction from Michael's mom as the case against Stacey Wondra moves forward with a week full of hearings.
I hope he sees Michael's face every time he sees me.
Fruitland mom Brandi Vaughan is still desperate for answers, facing her son's accused killer in a Payette County courtroom, almost 5 years after Michael Monkey Vaughn was last seen outside the family's home. Despite searching Stacey Wondra's backyard in 2022, Michael's body was never recovered.
This remains an active and ongoing investigation.
Police at the time named 4 suspects, but it took years for a single murder charge to stick. Did you try to make eye contact with Stacey Wondra today?
Absolutely.
And
as soon as he made eye contact with me, his eyes darted away real quick and he got very red in the face.
Could you imagine looking into the eyes of the man who is responsible for your son's abduction and murder? Looking him in the eyes, that's how strong Brandi Vaughan is. That is how strong she is.
Stacey Wondra is the only person currently charged in the case, facing felonies for first-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and destruction of evidence.
Please rise. Third court now in session.
Monday's status hearing was to make sure that the Payette County Prosecutor's Office and Wondra's defense team are ready to start with the preliminary hearing to find probable cause and proceed to a full trial. If you had the opportunity today to say something to him, what would you have asked him?
Where's Michael? What did you do to him?
The preliminary hearing could take the rest of the week and is scheduled to begin Tuesday morning at 9. Idaho News 6 will be there, as will Brandi Vaughan.
We're strong. We're strong. We're well. And we're here for justice for Michael.
Who in
Hold on 1 second. Let me pull up the next day. Let me see. How do I get back? Let's just see. We're going to go here. I can stop doing this real quick. Let me pull up the second round here, which will be the first day of the actual preliminary hearing. How are you guys doing over here in chat? So good to see so many people here. Psycho 688 is here. Rubber Dub has joined us. I saw ICU Commander is here. Darlene, thank you guys all for coming, supporting the Vaughn family. I really do appreciate it. TikTok, Brandon and Adrian, just a matter of time, isn't it? It's just a matter of time. Charges will be coming on them. Brandi has more resilient than I have. I feel her pain, her strength through and through. It's just absolutely heartbreaking, isn't it? And she just keeps advocating and pushing forward. Hope I'm not too late. My notifications aren't working. Little Kimmy, if you can just hit that notification bell again and just click it a few times and then make sure your notifications are on. Sometimes if you unsubscribe and resubscribe, that will help get those notifications. Sometimes YouTube just gets all whatever. She's so much stronger than me. I couldn't do it. You know what Brandi said to my daughter Tabitha when my daughter Tabitha said the same thing? She said, you would do it if it was your kid. You would do it. Because that's what we do. Thomas is in the house. Thank you so much for coming. Adrian is scared shitless. He's constantly on the move. He is. She's incredibly strong, isn't she? How dare you, Stacey Wondra? How can you live with yourself on what you did to Michael? How can they all live with themselves? And we know they are all watching. Dress, clothes, and shackles is a good look for him. I agree with that. Definitely. Good to see you, Darlene. Thank you for coming in. Going back in the bushes, but again, thank you for doing all you do. Well, thank you for coming in. You can hide in the bushes and lurk all you want. Thank you for being here. I love Brandi's hair. So beautiful. She is beautiful and a strong mother. She is, isn't she? I had to block and remove somebody from coming into my Kyron Horman group after doing a post on Michael and a picture of Brandi and I together. And this woman thought she was going to come in and talk crap about Brandi's blue hair. Pissed me off. It's like, okay, deleted, blocked. Yeah, my admin for my Kyron group, because she's been dealing with Kyron's group since I've been doing all of this. And she was like, I blocked this person. I said, good. I cannot believe some people. What gives them the right? Think what you want to think. Just keep your damn mouth shut. Baby Kisses hopes he gets the DP. I hope they all do. Thank you, Psycho, for coming in. Kelly says, yep, can't even give her 5 minutes. It's nuts. They don't. They come rushing. Sometimes they're even rushing her before she goes into the courtroom to set up something for after she comes out of the courtroom. And you have to think, like, we go into court, 9 a.m. in the morning is when the status conference started at 11 a.m., but then the rest of the week was 9 a.m. in the morning. And we would get bathroom breaks, like, usually just 10-15 minute breaks, and then usually like an hour lunch. And Brandi's got 10 minutes during these short breaks, and she does like setting up things during that time, but also still being spoken to by reporters, and sometimes even doing interviews during just those 10 minutes, and then sometimes doing things during lunch. I mean, but we're hungry by noon. On the days we could even eat, honestly, I think me and my daughter only went one time right up the road to actually grab food. It was the last day of the preliminary hearing because we just couldn't eat for the rest of that early week. Like, we could not. And so, yeah, as we're trying to like get lunch and have our potty breaks and rest our leg, I'm walking because I need to get my legs moving because I'm sitting. My butt is hurting. I mean, all of us our bodies were stiff. Hard benches, not fun to sit in for hours and hours and hours. So, yeah, taking the time to stop and talk to reporters, go to the bathroom, whatever. Yeah, not very much time at all. That's right. He said she's the looker, so he'll let her be on camera. Mama B says, I don't blame Tyler at all. No, he understands why she's doing everything, but he also knows if Brandi's pissed about something, she could really spout off, and he doesn't want her to do that either. Brandi is amazing. She sure is. She's Superman. I love that. She is Superwoman. You know, the other three are sweating bullets right now. They really are. Okay. I just wanted to get into the comment section, send Brandi some love from everybody. and looked to see what everybody was saying. Brandi's actually here. She was way down in the bottom of my comments. I did comment to her. She said my blue hair was childish. I told her it was childish for her to be commenting on someone's appearance and how they express themselves. Have a nice day. I saw you wrote, Tabitha brought up to me, did you see that woman in your Kyron Horman group? That pissed me off. She made a comment to the woman. Heidi, my admin in there, made a comment. I was just like, who does that? Who does that? I am so sorry, Brandi. People are just ridiculous. Haters gonna hate, right? Shows a lot more about them. Absolutely. It was just ridiculous. Mama, when you get the chance, please rewind to the beginning of this live. We did something a little special this evening instead of our regular, intro. Well, I always play my intro, but afterwards. So when you get the chance, take a look. There was a message for Monkey's Army, and I really wanted you to be able to hear that tonight. You and Tyler can sit together, or you and the kids and the family, whatever you want to do. Brandi says, good evening, everyone. I hope you are all well. I'm taking some me time, making some comfort food, ready for sunshine. Thank you all for such kind words. We love you, honey, and I'm glad you're taking some me time, which is exactly what I will be doing this weekend. I absolutely positively will not be going live this weekend. I need to decompress. I have been going and going and going since I've came home. I may even let Monday take a rest so Purple can do Monkey Monday on the round table, and so that I can put together all of me, my daughter's notes, Lana's notes from the day of the 9.5 hour footage. If I don't get it all put together, I did find 2 KTVB play-by-play kind of thing for that I could read, and then we can go over notes. But I haven't decided yet if I'm going to take a break or not on Monday. I will let everybody know, but I am definitely taking a break this weekend. All right. I'm going to share my screen here and keep moving along through all these interviews. Take a news interview, share it, talk about it, share Monkey's face, share Monkey's beautiful smile. Let's keep sharing these monsters and let the world know that everyone responsible for Michael's death and abduction will pay for what they've done. Is this the first one? Do I need to double check? Hold on a second. Yep, this is all of these news reports are from the first day of the preliminary hearing. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They could, say the exact same thing. They could be different. We'll find out.
Preliminary hearings for Stacey Wondra, the man charged in the disappearance and killing of young Fruitland boy Michael Vaughan. Neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker joins us live from the courthouse.
Yeah, Donna, a little over an hour ago, they wrapped up testimony, but it was a long day of testimony in the case against Stacey Wondra, the man charged with kidnapping and killing Fruitland boy Michael Vaughan in 2021. Now, we're still here at the Payette County Courthouse, where Michael's parents took the stand while facing their son's accused killer face to face.
They're arrogant and they're dumb criminals, and they think that they're going to get away with this, and they're not.
Brandi Vaughan, mother of 5-year-old missing Fruitland boy Michael Monkey Vaughan, finally takes the stand almost 5 years after her son was last seen alive. She and her husband Tyler were the first two witnesses called in Stacey Wondra's preliminary hearing that could take the rest of the week, laying out the timeline for that July evening when Michael went missing. As we reported, Tyler was the one who called 911 on that July night after a frantic call to his wife.
And it's been a long time, but I can still feel it. I can still hear it. I can smell it that night, that day. I wasn't even really looking at time.
During cross-examination, the defense questioned Tyler's use of marijuana while he was home with the kids.
During this period of time, during the day, were you smoking marijuana? Yes.
Tyler testified he did smoke a joint between the time he saw Michael alive around 6:15 and when he noticed he was gone around 7 p.m. But Brandi said she never had concerns about his smoking and said it was always kept hidden away and out of reach. In court, we also heard from 3 professional canine handlers who were called to assist in the investigation. One led detectives to Stacey Wondra's home while following a scent from Michael Vaughan's shoe. 2 others were called to the scene in 2022 when the backyard was excavated, giving positive alerts to the scent of human remains.
He very much pulled me to that property. Residual scent, the dog will alert on residual scent. And that's what I believe is happening on that day.
We also heard from an officer who worked at the jail where Stacey served time on unrelated charges and found a letter in Stacey's belongings addressed to the Vaughn family and signed by Stacey. The contents of the letter were not shared in court.
Now, the court has scheduled off the rest of the week for this preliminary hearing, but the state is expected to call one of their key witnesses tomorrow. It's going to start out right at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we are going to have live updates throughout the day on our website, idahonews6.com, as well as in all our shows. So stay with us here on Idaho News 6. Reporting from the Payette County Courthouse, I'm neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker, Idaho News 6.
Thanks, Riley. Charges in this case were a long time coming. Tonight, it's team coverage as executive reporter Karen Laird joins us with more of the backstory on how we got here.
Now, this is a case that Idaho News 6 has been following closely for you for years. I'm executive reporter Karen Laird outside the Payette County Courthouse, and I was in Fruitland in 2022 when police completely excavated the backyard of Stacey Wondra's home in their search for Michael Vaughan's body. As we reported at the time, police told us that tip came from someone who lived inside the home. And we later showed you those jailhouse interviews where Stacey Wondra was seen talking to law enforcement and directing them exactly where in his backyard to find Michael Vaughan's body. He lived at the home at the time of Michael's disappearance with his then wife, Sarah, and 2 other individuals who police at the time named all 4 people as suspects in Michael Vaughan's disappearance. Stacey's wife, Sarah, was charged with failing to report Michael's death, but after a body was never found, those charges were eventually dropped and Sarah was released. As we've reported, Stacey Wondra is the only person currently charged in connection with Michael Vaughan's disappearance and death as this case now moves forward. We'll continue to keep you updated online on idahonews6.com. Reporting outside the Payette County Courthouse, I'm executive reporter Karen Laird for Idaho News 6.
You know, and you hear Brandi talk about remembering that day that her son, Michael, was abducted. We talked about the fact that she just knew Michael hadn't just wandered away. She knew somebody took him. It was not sitting well in her stomach at all. She said she just had a gut feeling. She remembers that day. She still feels that day. And when she said, I still smell it. I have smelled or know of smells that will bring memories, and I'll reflect on those memories, like when I smell my dad's beans, for instance. Comfort food for me. He loved making pinto beans and hams or whatever. But remembering the smell of the day that your child was abducted, You can only say, I'll never understand. I can't even imagine. There just are no words anymore. There's no words to describe their pain. And to smell it, it's just also heartbreaking. And then you see Stacey Wondra in his suits. He's shackled up. The shackles, he's got his fat hanging over his shackles. You see all of the weight loss and everything else. And I really just hope that the weight loss comes from the stress that he's feeling. The stress that he's feeling knowing that he's been charged, that, this is going to trial, and I hope he just keeps stressing out. I hope he keeps feeling something, anything, because he needs to take responsibility for what he's done. He can't just keep saying over and over and over again that he had nothing to do with any of it. Because Stacey Wondra sat at a splash pad, checked the handle of the door. He did not get his chew out, like people are saying he actually did. It's not even true. There's video footage from CCTV camera showing he never opens the door. So why would you say that he did and got his chew? No. Juanita Kelleher testified that not only did he check the handle on the outside of the car, he walked around, looked and turned his head, trying to see if anybody was watching him, saw children playing at the splash pad, and waved at them or I don't know who. But then he leaves and goes to a skate park that day. They were out hunting. That's what they were doing that day. You cannot say that you have nothing to do with any of it, Stacey, if you're out hunting and looking for a child all day. Well, everybody else was gone all day. Stacey was only gone from 3:20 to 5 o'clock. According to what we heard, we don't know if that is the only time he left the house. We just know that that's what we heard in court last week. But he did lie, and so did Sarah, about when they did leave the house.
Thanks for joining Idaho News 6 at 11. I'm neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker, and I am live in Payette, where I have spent the entire morning inside the Payette County courtroom, where the preliminary hearing for Stacey Wondra continues in the case of missing 5-year-old Michael Monkey Vaughan. Today's focus in court has been emotional testimony from Michael's parents, as prosecutors begin laying out the state's timeline of the evening that he vanished nearly 5 years ago. Stacey Wondra is the only person currently charged facing first-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and destruction or concealment of evidence. Prosecutors also added a persistent violator enhancement because of his prior criminal history. And this morning, we heard from Brandi and Tyler Vaughan, Michael's parents, with much of their testimony focused on the timeline of that July 27, 2021 evening, the night Michael was last seen, and the frantic search that followed. Now, prosecutors stressed to the judge that investigators have ruled out the possibility that Michael simply wandered off. During Tyler Vaughan's testimony, the defense did question him about his marijuana use that day and that evening. Taylor acknowledged he had been smoking marijuana joints earlier in the afternoon and that evening, but both he and Brandi, his wife, testified there was never a concern about his ability to care for the children. Now, the defense has also countered the state's claims of an on-camera admission, telling the court that Stacey has, quote, confessed to nothing, and that there is no confession in this case as they challenge the state's evidence. Now, while authorities previously named 4 suspects in this case, including Sarah Wondra, Stacey's then wife, as well as Brandon Shurtleff and Adrian Lucien, only Stacey Wondra has been formally charged at this time. This hearing is expected to continue with law enforcement enforcement testimony this afternoon as the state works to show probable cause to move this case toward trial. And we will keep you updated right here on Idaho News 6. We'll have that at 5 and 6. You can also get live updates throughout the day while we are inside court on our website, idahonews6.com. Reporting live from the Payette County Courthouse, I'm Riley Shoemaker, Idaho News 6.
It is a heavy day in court.
Let's just see what is in chat. I can't even imagine that Brandi and Tyler are still going through without Michael in life. Right, Aggie? Exactly, Sam. He would not be where he is and the charges he had if he was innocent. And then, yes, like you just heard here on this news report, the defense starts off by saying during opening arguments, all they said was our client did not confess to anything, pretty much. And that's it. They really didn't give that good of an opening statement. But we seen footage. And the footage that was leaked on YouTube, you know, of him FaceTiming with detectives and stuff, that was not shown in court. That was not part of that 9.5 hours that we saw. We actually saw the whole interview with detectives. And it was Juanita Kelleher, Chris Madonna, and Scott Crimmins. So, you know, and we know it wasn't an interrogation to the point of a false confession. They are feeding him food as he's asking for food. He's wondering if there's restaurants nearby. He's given a sandwich. They actually even have a can of chew that he is, you know, putting in his lip and sucking on. He's also holding a bucket and spitting. And then at one point he pukes because he says that he's, you know, stomach's upset from talking about it. Heartburn, I think is what he said. He had heartburn from the stress of talking to them about Michael and everything that happened. But this was not detectives yelling and screaming, "What did you do?" or anything like that. They were, Chris Madonna is so soft spoken. If anybody kind of really went at him, and it wasn't even like a yell, it was just more like, you know, we know you know more. You need to talk to us. You need to tell us everything. You know, like he says that they were gone to 5 to 7 o'clock, but then doesn't fill in the gaps of that 2 hours. So Juanita Kelleher kind of gets at her and says, okay, well, that's 5 to 7, but what happened in those hours? So it wasn't yelling and screaming. It wasn't, you know, to a false confession. It wasn't. We have to remember Stacey Wondra called law enforcement to come in to talk to him on the 5th and the 10th. And then detectives go in and see him on the 11th. And then they are digging at the Wondra's house looking for Michael on November 12th of 2022.
Today, as the preliminary hearing is underway for the man accused of kidnapping and killing 5-year-old Michael Vaughn back in 2021. Stacey Wondra's hearing started at 9 a.m. in Payette County. It's still going on right now. Wondra is charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, destruction of evidence, and a persistent violator charge in connection to Vaughn's death. In opening statements, Payette County prosecutor Mike Duke told the judge the case is straightforward. He said the investigation led to Stacey and Sarah Wondra, and that Stacey admitted to law enforcement that Michael was abducted and he saw Michael's body being buried in his backyard. The defense argued, though, Stacey did not confess to anything. Michael's father, Tyler, was the first on the witness stand there this morning, followed by Michael's mother, Brandi.
Okay, where'd you go searching for my son? Okay. And did you ever locate Michael?
No.
And have you heard from him in any way?
No.
Okay.
A former sergeant from California, Dustin Witt, took the stand as well. The FBI called him in during the investigation a few days after Michael went missing. He handled the scent trailing dog who led law enforcement to the area around the Wondra's home.
Banshee can essentially take the scent of a child's shoe and can tell us certain things, right?
Correct.
Can tell us where that child maybe has been.
Correct.
But it could also maybe tell us where someone else has been who maybe wore those shoes or was in a common area with those shoes. Is that accurate?
Correct.
And so the areas that Banshee actually trailed on related to a pillow or a shoe could have been related to someone other than Michael Vaughn, correct?
That could be correct.
Now, this preliminary hearing is effectively sort of a mini trial, with the prosecution arguing there is probable cause to move these charges along to district court and go to full trial. The defense is challenging the prosecution by cross-examining witnesses. They can also introduce their own evidence if they want. The hearing is scheduled to last all week, and we have a crew inside the courtroom. Stay with KTVB.com for live updates throughout the day. It's a very emotional.
You know, and something else, you know, we're in the courtroom, we're all watching Stacey Wondra, his mannerisms and stuff. He does this weird thing with his lips. They just like are moving, they're like clenched and they're moving in and out, almost like he's puckering up for a kiss, but then he puts his lips out and in, out and in. It was just really strange. Never seen Stacey Wondra make those faces. In like his YouTube shit show, his face would turn red at times. Mostly when people were presenting facts that were scaring him, I noticed, or when he would get upset, like him turning red when Brandi stared him down, turning red when the cadaver dog handlers were talking, turning red when Juanita Kelleher was talking and testifying in court, turning red when Captain Jason Hurst, you know, or Horst, said that he found the tricycle. He would play with his ears. And then other times he was over there doodling on his paper, smiling, laughing. Just very strange behavior for somebody, you know, accused of murder and abducting a child. And Brandi Vaughan, Tyler were both asked if they have, you know, since July 27th of 2021 has seen or heard from Michael. They both said no. You know, Brandi almost lost it. She started to, you know, get the quiver in her lip. She got emotional. She almost started crying. But for the rest of, you know, Brandi's testimony, she sat tall. She stared over at Stacey Wondra, would let her, you know, let him know, I'm looking directly at you to answer this question, especially if it had something to do with a question about Monkey. And Dustin Witt there, you hear in this that the defense is kind of going at him, talking to him about the shoe and the pillow. And, you know, the dog Banshee could have actually been hitting on another person's scent, right? And he says, could be, correct. You know, we know that Banshee used a shoe, or that Dustin Witt used a shoe. And after researching, you can go do and look and find your, you know, do it for yourself, research it if you have any questions about whether or not Michael's shoe could have given a good scent, whether it was stacked in a pile of other shoes or even in a box of shoes. The thing is there's skin cells from your feet that end up inside these shoes, along with oils and other chemicals from your body that ends up being in the shoes. And even say if Buggy put on his shoes, and played in them, you know, because she liked to flop around in the house or something with her big brother's shoes on. The shoes were worn by Michael Moore. You know what I mean? He's not sharing shoes with everybody in the house. They don't fit everybody else in the house. Everybody else is older or younger. So, you know, do your own research. The shoes were the perfect item to use for a scent article. Just perfect. And like Dustin Witt says, could be correct. Because, you know, there's got to be times that some scent articles don't work well as others, but the shoe really was the perfect. And Banshee hit everywhere the tricycle was, and hit in the location where Michael was on the corner of Red Wing and Meadowlark, and at the Wandra's house.
Day for Michael Vaughan's parents. Nearly 5 years after their son went missing, they face their son's suspected killer in court today. Stacey Wondra is charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, destruction of evidence, and a persistent violator charge as well in connection to the little boy's death. Our Morgan Romero was in court all day long. Take a look.
Stacey Wondra's preliminary hearing lasted all day here at the Payette County Courthouse. Prosecutors called 9 witnesses to the stand, and the defense was able to cross-examine them and ask their own questions. This preliminary hearing this week effectively acts as a mini trial, where the prosecution is arguing there's probable cause to move these charges along to district court and go to trial. In opening statements, Payette County Prosecutor Mike Duke told the judge they'll present evidence showing how the criminal investigation led to Stacey and his ex-wife, Sarah Wondra. Duke said Wondra admitted to law enforcement Michael was abducted and buried in his backyard. The defense, meantime, argued Stacey didn't confess to anything. Michael's father, Tyler, was the first on the witness stand, followed by Michael's mother, Brandi. Outside the courthouse, she reflected on testifying in front of her son's suspected killer, saying it's not fair. They have to relive this again.
I have a lot of anger, and I still continue to have that because you sit there smiling and I know what you've said. It's disgusting. And I'm angry. I'm confident in our testimonies and how Mike Duke is going through the process, laying the foundation of that day.
Do you think we'll ever know where Michael is?
I'm never going to stop. One way or another, I'll find a way. Somebody's going to say something. They're arrogant and they're dumb criminals. And they think that they're going to get away with this. And they're not.
A scent-trailing dog handler testified his dog tracked to the Wandra's home using a scent from Michael's shoe. Then 2 cadaver dog handlers said their dogs alerted to human remains in the Wandra's yard during a 2022 excavation. No body parts or blood were found, but handlers say the dogs responded to residual scent. A Washington County deputy testified about video calls between Fruitland PD and Wondra in jail, and a Thanksgiving letter that Wondra wrote to the Vaughans that the deputy was told not to send. The Wandra's former neighbor testified he spotted an unfamiliar tricycle at their home. Another witness said he found it over a bluff days after Michael went missing and left it at the subdivision entrance, where an Idaho State Police captain testified he later came across it. Wandra's preliminary hearing is expected to last the entire week, with the prosecutor telling me they have many more witnesses to call. I will be in the courtroom, so stay posted on KTVB and KTVB.com for live updates. Back to you.
The man accused.
Yeah, there's a lot there in that news report. 9 witnesses that were called to the stand. We know Tyler and Brandi, Dustin Witt, which was the scent trailing dog handler, Deborah and Julie, I believe were their names. They were the 2 cadaver dog handlers, where both of those cadaver dogs did hit on residual scent. One of those dogs hit up close to the home on top of an irrigation box, and the other one hit in the location where Stacey Wondra said to look for Michael in the backyard. Carson Starkey, their next door neighbor, the RSO that lives next door, testified that he saw the pink tricycle behind the Wondra's man fence, which is in between the Starkeys and the Wondra's home, after Michael was abducted. He saw it there after, which I also thought was huge. He says, and I do think I saw it in the garage. And then you have Jeff, which was a deputy at the time in 2021 working at the Washington County Sheriff's Department. He testified and talked about the letter, this Thanksgiving letter to the Vaughn family. It was an apology letter. He found it in Stacey Wondra's little plastic tote in there. It was unfinished letter, and Stacey Wondra had already signed it. He made a copy of it. He sent it over to his dad that worked at the Fruitland Police Department. He put the letter back into the box to see whether or not if Stacey would finish the letter. And then shortly after that, and a FaceTime with Stacey Wondra's mother, he tried to kill himself. But he did testify that he wrote the letter and that was normal, you know, being a deputy working for Washington County Sheriff's Office to, you know, go through things. And the reason he was in Washington County is because that's where they put like the felons and stuff. And then there was Captain Jason Horst. He had testified that he was the one who found the tricycle behind the bluff sign into the subdivision. Thought it was very strange because he had heard that a witness had came forward and told other police officers that she saw Michael Vaughn riding a tricycle. He wasn't sure if this was the tricycle or not because he didn't know the color of the tricycle, but he wanted to secure the area and call for backup anyway, just in case that was the bike, which then we find out during the preliminary hearing last week that it was the tricycle that Dorothy Starkey said she saw Michael Vaughn on there on Meadowlark and Red Wing. And then Jim Smith was one of the other witnesses. He was the one that lived in the Bluffs subdivision, just a few houses into its 8th Street and 3 Rivers Way. He testified that from his house, it faces the bluff, and looking down the bluff, you know, it's usually used like as a dump ground. Many people dump things down there, and he saw a tricycle. He went down there, got the tricycle, wanted to use the wheel off of the tricycle to put on an old wheelbarrow that he had. He liked to tinker around with stuff all the time. And when he realized that the wheel wasn't going to fit, he put that trike, you know, for children to play with there at the Bluff sign. And we know that this tricycle plays a huge role in Michael Vaughn's disappearance. Stacey Wondra said in some of that confession footage that we watched when he talked to detectives that Michael Vaughn was lured with that tricycle. Brandi Vaughan talks about being angry, just very angry, and she hated seeing Stacey Wondra smiling. You know, she doesn't say she hated it, but we know she hates, you know, seeing him smiling. She says, I know what you've done. I know what you did. I know what you've said. You know, she's watched Stacey Wondra all over YouTube and talk and everything else, and then, you know, deflect away from everything that he did. And then the confession footage comes out and we just sit there with our mouth drops like, wow, you lied for so long to the public and here you are confessing everything. that you saw, that you witnessed, and totally deflecting from having anything to do with anything, not taking responsibility for sure. And she also talks about how she, is very happy that the district attorney has been working really super hard, laying the foundation for the preliminary hearing, because we know Mike Duke's been working on this for a long time. We heard a very long time ago that Mike told Brandi and Tyler that he was going to be moving forward and going after charges, and then we waited for a long time for those charges to come. But he's laying that foundation, and he did a good job at it, because Stacey Wondra's going to trial. And I love when she calls them dumb criminals. They're arrogant and dumb criminals, and they are arrogant and ignorant. I think she said arrogant and dumb criminals is what she said, but she's so strong in front of that camera. That's for sure.
Of kidnapping and killing Fruitland boy Michael Vaughn appeared in court yesterday for a preliminary hearing. Stacey Wondra is charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, and destruction of evidence in connection with Vaughn's death. The preliminary hearing is expected to last all week. The prosecution is calling witnesses and arguing there is probable cause to proceed to trial.
Nearly 5 years after their son went missing, they face their son's suspected killer in court today. Stacey Wondra is charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, destruction of evidence, and a persistent violator charge as well in connection to the little boy's death.
And this persistent violator charge, I don't know if everybody knows what that is, and we don't talk about it very often because we normally just talk about the destruction of evidence. But Stacey Wondra is a habitual offender, and that's what that means. He's being charged for being exactly that, just a habitual offender, getting in trouble, breaking the law. When you're a felon, you can't have pew-pews. And he's out not only with pew-pews, but posting up pew-pews for sale in a hunting group. I actually recently heard that. I want to talk about that in more detail on another live, but selling a pew-pew at a pawn shop, Sarah Wondra throws him under the bus, but a habitual offender is what the charge actually has to do with.
Our Morgan Romero was in court all day long. Take a look.
Stacey Wondra's preliminary hearing lasted all day here at the Payette County.
We watched this one already. This is just one of their shorts. Let me stop here so I can pull up more. Let's just see what I got here. Here we go. And then you want these videos. This first video that I'm about to share is 11 minutes long, and it's just kind of going over some information that was, it's actually going over some of the footage from that confession. And you guys will see it pretty much goes that way the entire 9.5 hours. Nobody's yelling and screaming. There's no false confession here. Let me take a look real quick. Under Your Scars, thank you for being here. Never Give Up, thank you for being here. Sixth Sense, Melia, thank you for coming in. He said he knew that he would be on the FBI watch list after selling it, and he just didn't care. Y'all remember the 3 strikes and you're out? It's because of people like him that law came out or came about. Absolutely. Do they have that 3 strikes law in Idaho? I'll look that up while we're watching some new stuff. I know they have it here in Washington and Oregon, I think. Yeah, he didn't care. I didn't know that he said he would be on the FBI watch, though. Wow, that's pretty ballsy. I believe Adrian knows where Michael is at 2. Adrian left Idaho and never came back. Michael's body was moved way after Adrian left, in my opinion. Yep. Better hurry up, be the first to tell. It's a race to the finish line right now. Who can plead out? The big story timeline will be Sarah. Oh, I bet she will sing like a canary. I bet she is the mastermind. If Brandon and Adrian are smart, they will make a deal and reveal where Michael is. Well, Sarah and Brandon are the ones who know where Michael is. Michael left, or Adrian left, sorry. Just looking at everybody's comments and the dogs hitting where hemisphere story went followed, so no false confessions. He went to them. Absolutely, we did. Called them in to talk to them. He wanted the same deal Sarah was told she could have the month prior. I can't believe he tried saying it was a forced confession and they were yelling and blaming him. Oh yeah, Tabitha, he was interrogated to the point of a false confession. That's what has been said, and it's just not true. Even though he does have alcohol fetal syndrome, or fetal alcohol syndrome, Stacey knows right from wrong. Just because you have disabilities doesn't mean you don't know what's right and what's wrong. Yes, they do have the tricycle and evidence. Hair curlers and crime, they do. Yes, they do. Yeah, there is no way he can claim innocence, right? Not after going to the splash pad and stuff, actually out hunting, looking for children. Just looking through comments, I'm glad he did it, but man, he's really stupid. Yeah, coming out and talking. They better recognize that Brandi is one strong, loving, and determined mother, and she will never stop, and she won't. She won't ever stop. And you know, she had doctor's appointments and stuff earlier this week, and she's getting stronger and stronger. She is, you know, fighting the fight. They're taking her off of medications. They're doing all those things because she is doing so well. Besides her mental health, you know, having to deal with all of this stuff. And the stronger she gets, the, you know, the more these suspects better watch out. That's all I gotta say. Because even though she wasn't feeling good while I was there, she was still on top of it all. And I can't even imagine how much stronger she'll get when she's physically, mentally, you know, available. What was Brandon's buddy Jay said about all this recently, or Misty? I actually got a message from, I've been talking on and off with Misty. She broke her hip. Daniel Guthrie's wife reached out to me here recently. I believe her name's Jessica. Hope I didn't get that wrong. Wondering, you know, what's been going on and stuff. I kind of updated her a little bit, but yeah, not very much. Missing PNW. Samantha, do you remember how he said he didn't do SA crimes? Would no one said that happened? Yes, I do remember that here. Yeah, nobody had asked him anything, and all he said was, I've done felony crimes and everything else, but I've never, SA something, something, something. Is just strange to even make that comment. Leakage. There's no excuse, nor did they feed him any information. The videos will show that was a false statement. It actually, if for anybody to say that he was interrogated to the point of a false confession, then they don't know what the hell they're talking about, because 9.5 hours of that, not one of them raised their voice to Stacey, were mean to him. They made him comfortable. He was drinking and sipping on water, soda at another time, chocolate milk at another time. No. Certain people would even watch the video, though, and actually know that it wasn't a false confession, but still say it was. That's what's shitty. Okay, so gonna just move on here. Yeah, eating cake. Eating cake, sandwiches, yes. Chocolate milk. Let's move on to this 11-minute. If I see anything, I have been kind of like taking notes and stuff, but if I see anything through 11 minutes, I might just stop to talk about it if it, makes me remember anything else that we heard. But this is actually the footage that we watched. This is 11 minutes of it. Let me make sure that I have. Okay. So that's on, so you guys can read it, because sometimes it's very hard to hear. That's Stacey Wondra on the right, and on the left is Mr. Chris Madonna. I love me some Chris Madonna. Does amazing work. For those don't know it, he works for the Cold Case Foundation and is very intelligent when it comes to missing persons. Solved a lot of cases.
So what's going on tonight? I heard you want to speak with us.
Well, talk to my mom, I guess she's like this light at the end of the tunnel, I guess. She's supposed to be the mayor of information, which is looking at her.
You see how he giggles there? I talked to my mom, and you have Juanita Kelleher saying, we heard you wanted to talk to us. He says, yeah, I talked to my mom, and he kind of like laughs. I think he does that sometimes when he gets nervous, but, just the light at the end of the tunnel, he says. But, he's there to tell these detectives what happened to Michael Vaughn that day, and he's laughing.
I'll let you know. You were a plea bargain or whatever, the same thing. You guys are all concerned over the exchange for help with Michael. I don't, in the sense of helping to find Michael, I don't have any issue with going out and trying to help locate and search and,
He goes off on this little thing about how he doesn't have an issue going out and trying to help locate and search for Michael. Like going to different areas and everything. So you're going to hear a lot of that. And he's trying very hard to I'll help you search, which is just confusing, because I was starting to think did he just want to take them out on this, wild goose chase or something, just to get the hell out, get some fresh air, and see his favorite places, or what? Or, does he know where Michael is what I kept asking in the back of my head. Because how could he, say I don't have an issue going out and trying to help locate Michael and search for him if he has no idea where Michael is. So I'm hoping if he does know, he will take a plea deal.
Like on that aspect, but I guess I kind of want to know, you know, and you guys told my mom, you know, like, in what aspect? You know, like, I don't, you know, like I gave you guys pretty, you know, a pretty substantial amount of, you know, when I thought was decent info the last time, you know, you guys talked. You know, it's like, at this point, I don't really have any more to give other than I just want to know if, like, when you tell my mom that you're willing to, you know, offer me some clear education for my month, physically coming out to try to look for him, helping.
I put the caption up so that you guys can kind of read to follow along, because there's a lot of air noise in the background from the body cam. So if you're not hearing it, please just try to like read the caption. Because if I turn it up anymore, that loud noise in the background is just going to get louder.
The search or whatever it may be, you know, or is it just, you know, feeding you guys information? Because I've given you guys what I know, you know, like that, or, you know, what thoughtless valuable information. But I don't have a problem at all with wanting to help with the search, because I want to be able to have this little bit out here. It's not fair to set up his mother and family, you know.
So I don't think that sometimes it takes a little time for us to go over stories and stuff, especially things that have happened to us and remember everything that's happened. And I don't think you've told us everything yet. And so I think there's probably still some more information that you could help us with. And it would depend on what information you have as far as things like that.
I gave you guys what I had. Like I told you guys last time, I don't have a problem with going and trying to help find this little boy. But as far as knowledge of his whereabouts or, you know, where, you know, I've given you guys where it could be. I've talked about, you know, what I've seen with the duffel bag. That's literally like what I have. I want to have more so I can help find this little boy. But that's why I'm literally like, I want to do this eye test, because I really think you guys, you know, I get, as you said, well, what if you fail? Are you still, you know, I'm not going to fail. That's what it's at. I know for a fact, and you know, however you guys want to see it, that's, you know, you guys are detectives, you guys do your thing or whatever, but like, you know, I'm just a person who's trying to help find this little boy in any which way I can, just like I was doing on the house. I mean, I don't think you guys understand. I don't have what you're looking for. And I think once we do the eye test, you guys are going to be like, well, you really wasn't lying. Like, and that's my point I'm trying to make is like, I get you guys have your, you know, your due diligence and your job to do or whatnot. But I'm also telling you, as someone, you know, I've given you guys what I can. But I also know that there's a certain point beyond and above the, you know, you get stuck at a point where you don't have anything else to relay. And when I'm telling you I don't have anything else to relay, I don't have anything else to relay. It's not that I don't want to give it to you. It's not that I don't want to cooperate. I mean, for you guys down here, I wouldn't, you know, give you guys information, you know, what I've recollected I didn't want to cooperate if I didn't want this little boy to be found. Just trust me, I want him to be found. Like, I have many nieces and nephews. I've got friends that have got little boys, little kids. And it's like, to be labeled as that one person, which is what I'm being labeled as. I mean, I'm sure as anybody else, it gives yourself a bad name. And that's why I want to go through and do with this whole eye test thing. I want to see what you guys are trying to offer, because I feel like once I complete the eye test and you guys see that he really hasn't lied to us. I mean, I really feel like with all the stuff that I've had to go through, like I still should be like negotiated or given a deal to him because of the information I have related to you guys. Even though it's not, you guys think it's not everything I know, like what I've given you is what I've given you. But I still feel like being put, in this position when you're gonna find out that I'm not lying. That's what this is at. Like I'm not. I would never. There's more things Food being the fourth one. I wouldn't put that second, but I literally am a very, very, very firm believer in those things, and to mess with somebody else's life like that, with like what's happened, is completely beyond anything on me. I mean, it's.
Do you guys see how the DA right here, this long, huge list, every single one of those are little 10, 15-minute clips, 10, I think. And this was just the beginning. They read him his rights before 2 interviews. He was read his rights, and then they handed his rights to him on a piece of paper, and he signed it. So Stacey Wondra knew what he was doing. He knew he was going to be telling law enforcement and working with them to tell them what happened to Monkey.
I mean, it's real what has happened, but it's unreal to me that I'm having to sit here and face, yeah, you guys have, your.
It's unreal to me that I have to sit here and face what, Stacey? Face what? He doesn't even finish a sentence, He just totally does not take responsibility for anything he does.
What about your investigation, your forensic stuff, or whatever it is? But as somebody who was not and hasn't been a part of that particular situation, I don't know. Like I want to help you guys as much as I can, but I don't have anything else to fork up. I just know that you guys told my mom, if he's willing to help, within the search or whatever. So I asked my mom, what are the parameters? And she goes, you're going to have to talk to them. So I was like, okay. And that's why I called you guys, because it's like, I mean, even after this whole testing thing, like that I want to do with you guys, and if it comes back like I'm telling you the truth, and I haven't lied, then I still want to work a negotiation or something out with you for having to go through what I've had to go through in this long process.
I want to negotiate with you for going through what I've gone through. It's all about Stacey. The only reason he even calls them back to talk to them He wants the same deal that Sarah was offered. He wants to make some kind of negotiation. And this is the beginning of his interrogation. He tries to do all this before actually giving any kind of information about what happened to Michael that day.
It doesn't, and I talked to Sarah a couple days ago. I don't know if she told you, but I asked, I told her, I said, why is all this, what's all this stuff going on with, God?
Here he just gets so nervous. He is fumbling his words. I just want to rewind just a little bit. Let me see. I don't know. She told me, look, I asked, he's just very, very confused as to what he should be saying next. Because you can tell that he's thinking, creating probably a lie, since he's a habitual liar, to come up with to tell law enforcement at this point.
I said, why is all this, what's all this stuff going on with, God, and this whole, I mean, I was appalled when she was like, well, I'm literally, I'm talking on the phone to you with fire. I said, I literally died a couple days ago, and God put me back to being prophesied something.
Appalled at Sarah for all this God stuff, he says. And then he says, literally died a couple days ago. He said that Sarah told him that she literally died a couple days ago. And God put me, that would be a prophet. So that's what I'm reading here. But how it was said was like, I literally died the other day, and God put me somewhere to be a prophet. So Sarah's claiming, at least Stacey's saying, that Sarah says she's a prophet. Did you see him wipe away all that damn sweat? He's nervous as hell in there.
By David Baldacci, but it's just like, and then she goes, well, I'm not talking to the detectives about she goes, I'm not training on you like you're saying that you're going to.
He was getting ready to say that Sarah said she wasn't going to talk about, but then doesn't finish his sentence. And I think he was getting ready to say that Sarah told him she wasn't going to talk about Michael, or talk about what happened, or talk about him, or throw him under the bus, or any of those things. We know they've already had this kind of conversation before, because it's written in the probable cause affidavit, because they promise each other they're basically not going to throw each other under the bus. They're not going to say anything. And then when Sarah was talked to, she said, yes, that conversation had to do with Michael. Well, if you don't have any knowledge of what happened to Michael, or his murder or abduction, how can you say, having a conversation about Michael, that you're not going to tell police things? You're not going to throw the other person under the bus. They have all leaked information, every single one of the suspects. And all that leaked information is knowledge of what happened that day. And none of them will be free.
I believe her. Great if she isn't. she can turn on me all she wants. I had nothing. She knows damn well I had nothing to do with it. And so I can let her, you know, she's going to do what she's going to do. I don't know. She already gave her speaking or whatnot. But honestly, like, I don't really care. You know, I don't trust her as far as I can throw her. And that's an every thing. You know, after the shit that I've heard from you guys, and when she's done behind my back, I mean, not meaning, or mind you, you know, some of the stuff that I've done behind her back, you know, wasn't exactly faithful, but if you had to be in the predicament, some of the situations that I've been in with her, and being held again, you know, being held up, you know, with a pushing that you through, I mean, you wouldn't exactly probably be the happiest, you know, your relationship. I mean, I can't speak for one another, but, you know, it's hard to, I mean, to just wrap my mind around, you know, the fact that she knows something. And just mind-boggling. You know, I'm the type of person that if I knew something, even taking a little boy, taking a kid from this family, I would kill somebody.
Saying I would kill somebody if they had done this. All those beeps are just him saying the foul F word. Okay, so let me go out of here real quick. I'm going to read some stuff out of chat. And then I'm going to go over here and pull some stuff up first. Let's get back out of this. Go to the playlists. Was this? Okay, this is day 4. Okay, let's see what's here in chat. You know, I think I will just do a smaller live on Monday, and we will go over, because we went through the status conference, news reports, then the first and the second day of the preliminary hearing, and then we can go over the third and the rest of the stuff that I have and anything else I find over the weekend. And I'll just do a smaller live because we've already been here for almost 2.5 hours. And I don't want to make the live too long, because then a lot of the people that come in on the replay, you know, you don't want to sit and watch a replay for 2-something hours or whatever, right? But Rogue is here. Hello, hello. Good evening, hun. Let's see. Sorry, going to go through chat, see if I can't answer any questions over things we've already gone over. Court case. Courtney's in the house. Thank you for coming. Country Cuz is here. Thank you for coming in. And just a FYI to anybody who wants to say that a certain detective asked another law enforcement agent to forge a letter goes beyond my opinion. What? Did somebody do that? Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, I already know who did. Okay. I just can't have all this in here. He has stated over and over and over he has not lied to the detectives. Nope, he's only just changed his story God knows how many times, right? Not lied about anything. He thinks he's slick, he's fooling nobody, right? The only consolation, my tongue hasn't been working lately, you guys. The only consolation is that the jury will also see this. Yeah. And the parents are going to have to watch that 9.5 hours again during trial, which is so bad. What he's going through, F that. What about what the Vaughn family went through, right? It's all about Stacey. He takes no responsibility. Oh, he wants the eye lie protector test? I don't know the technical term of it. We can just watch him and we figure him out through and through, right? He'd never pass a lie detector test with the retina test. Tabitha says she wrote that in her notes. It is all about him. That's it. Playing the fiddle. When held responsible, they deny the incident, attack the accuser's credibility, and claim they are the true victim. 100%. Sixth Sense. 100%. Too many words. The truth is said in simple statements. He can barely even talk. He stutters so much he can't talk. He's so nervous and stuff that he's talking, but he's trying to create things. I mean, he told story after story after story after story. He was lying and lying and lying before actually getting to what law enforcement thought was all they were going to get. But yeah, he was just sitting there in thought as he was I. He was waiting for questions to help him along. This is exactly how you do it with a guy like Stacey, right? Waiting for those questions so that he can answer them. And when they're all quiet and they're just letting him talk, and that's what you're supposed to do, let them talk. He's all fumbling around and stuff because he can't figure out what to say. Great point. Absolutely. So true. He wants something from them, so he's stammering, maybe because he's on the back foot and trying to do the low IQ genital giant bit, right? He just tries so hard to deflect away and not show responsibility. And then Stacey can hit her an inmate for no reason, tells me he has no remorse. Inmate just sitting in his chair at the nurse's station. Yeah, that guy even looked like he may have even had some mental issues or something. And that's Stacey Wondra, you know, bullying somebody else weaker than him, which is exactly what he did with Michael. That's what they all did to Michael. They bullied him, intimidated him. It's very sad. Sarah and the rest of them should get their side of the story of what really happened. Well, I hope they eventually do say something. Courtney Morris is here. Don't you know the detectives are grossed out? Yeah. Stacey Wondra doesn't like taking showers when he's in prison, from what I understand and have been told. And he stinks a lot. But can you guys see, this was done November 11th of 2022. It's 2026. How much weight he's lost since then? Yeah, it wasn't no fun sitting there 9.5 hours watching this, I tell you what. Exactly. At least he's talking. Keep on talking. We want to know more. Right? I noticed that too, hair curlers in crime. I love how Chris Madonna is just sitting there taking everything Stacey says in. And at one point, Chris Madonna tells Stacey, I notice you do certain things when you're nervous. And he was like, so I can tell when you're nervous. So, you know, that's when I know you're not telling us everything. In a way, I can't remember the exact words, but Chris Madonna does call him on certain mannerisms. Good to see you, McSporin. Thank you for coming in. Good evening, all. Hello, Samantha, mods. Hello, sweet Brandi and family. Thank you so much for coming in, Rogue. Really is good to see you. So good to have McSporin here from Scotland. Thank you, Aggie. This is a great live, Samantha. Thank you. I love news reports. I absolutely love them. Thank you, Mod Samantha, or thank you, Samantha, mods and community. We're Monkeys Armies here, Monkeys Army here, and we're not going anywhere. We want, you know, we want justice. Thank you, Chuck Anderson's granddaughter, for gifting another PNW Crimes Revisited membership. If you've received that membership, please let her know. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And thank you for being a member yourself. Please thank Chuck Anderson's granddaughter. I was pondering saying something, but Wednesday I wanted to stop and see what lies Evil was saying, and I seen someone named claiming that she knows someone that said Stacey watched child porn. I saw that too, and I'm very sorry that I have to do this. I don't like doing it, but I have to remove this because of people's names. But yes, I did see that, but I am going to delete your comment. I'm very sorry to have to do that. But We try not to say other people's names. If you're talking back and forth to people in chat, that's great, but mentioning other creators or mentioning names from other chat, we just can't do that in chat. Love having you guys here. We just got to be very mindful about the things that are going on in chat. And we just try not to say other creators' names. It's kind of like a big no-no, even though last night it got a little bit out of hand. My apologies. My live last night pissed me off, having trolls inside here coming at Brandi sideways. I dropped the F-bomb, I think, once last night, and I had to rewatch my entire live and make sure that there were no other trolls in here blocking and timeouting and doing all of the things. I even had moderators apologizing for not catching it, but it wasn't their fault. Life is life. If they can't be here, they can't be here. I normally don't get that upset during a live, but after the last couple of weeks that we've all had, you know, going through this information, who the hell comes into a chat when you're talking about an abducted, murdered little boy? Who comes into chat to harass when Michael Vaughan's mother is in chat? It was ludicrous. I just, no. Bye-bye. Yeah, it's so hard not to get pissed off. Because I love Brandi and she's my friend. We're good friends now. Excuse me a moment. Rubber Dub. Love that name. No need to apologize, Sam. You're doing a phenomenal job. And thank you very much. I actually messaged Brandi last night and told her I was sorry for losing my concentration, for, you know, letting everything get a little bit sideways in chat. I didn't know that the person that was in chat was being as bad as they actually were till afterwards. So, you know, and she just told me, I love you. Don't apologize, Sam. You have nothing to be sorry about. She actually apologized and said that, you know, this is what happens to people that cover Michael's case. They get attacked. And that's just so shocking to me. Who wants to attack anybody that's covering a missing or abducted or murdered child? It makes no sense. And I've dealt with attacks before. I can handle it. But watching Brandi be attacked is what bothered me. They can come in here and spew their BS all they want at me. Don't come at my girlfriend, okay? Because I'm one of those girlfriends. No, 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 no. Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Yes, I'm family now. That's what Brandi told me. I'm family now. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm family, she told me. Why would they care if someone is trying to help a missing child? It's unbelievable. Because there's a group of people that believe that the Vaughn family had something to do with Michael's abduction. Anyway, I am getting off track again, but I wanted to apologize, everybody. I don't like my behavior like that when I'm upset. But I mean, what would anybody expect of me when they're coming into my chat, coming at my friend, coming at the mother of a missing child, of an abducted, murdered child? I mean, no, don't anybody ever expect, you know, me not to say something. Because the thing about me is this. I don't like rumors at all. I do not like the spread of misinformation. And I definitely do not like the spread of disinformation. And disinformation and misinformation. Misinformation is whatever. Disinformation, you are making shit up. You are making shit up at that point if you're spreading disinformation. It's no longer lies and misinformation or rumors. Straight up making stuff up to fit a narrative. And it's unacceptable. I don't know why they do that. You know, in all cases, you see these people, you know, you have your people that want to, you know, befriend and be friends with people in prison. You have people that write letters to serial killers. You have all different kinds of cases with all different kinds of people that follow those cases. And some of those people choose to believe the other side, even when it's almost delusional. And that's what we're dealing with in Michael Vaughan's case. My husband just laughed at me. What'd you say, Callie? What did you say? I love you, girl. She says, staying quiet has never been a strong suit of mine. It's not mine either. And everybody just has to forgive me sometimes. Same, but no parent that is going through the worst time in their lives and having people continue to go after the family, put out misinformation, and interfere in an ongoing investigation. Yeah. Yep. It's ugly out there. I love you too, girl. Ted Bundy's wife believed him all the way until he confessed. Exactly. There's just people out there that, you know, and if they want to do that, they can do that. Go do that on your own channel. Go do that in your own chat. Don't come over here spewing it in my chat to the mother of Michael Vaughn. Don't do it. Very, very angry is what it made me. Again, I am going to end this live the way that I started this live and just read a message to the Vaughn family from Monkey's Army. It was just something that I put together because the Vaughn family is going through a lot. It has been a rough couple of weeks. And, you know, Brandi was here earlier and she left, and that's fine. She needs to take a breather. I'm going to take a breather. I know if I have to take a breather, they need to take a breather because, you know, when you find out all of this information, you can get angry. You can become shocked. You can have all of these feelings, but what's eventually going to happen is everything truly starts setting in with you, within your emotions and everything. And, you know, it's very unsettling to have that realization. And they're probably even having the realization like that was only 3 days worth of a preliminary hearing and a 10-minute status conference. We have to go to trial. What, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 months? How long is that going to be? And then we're not just going to have to do this once, Tyler. Or Tyler telling Brandi, we ain't going to have to do this once, man. We got to do this, you know, for Sarah Wondra. Because we already know she's going to be charged when she's released. There's another preliminary hearing. Another possible trial. And then, excuse me. Adrian Lucian, Brandon Shurtleff. Everybody goes down. This could last years. Years. Yeah, the preliminary hearing was set for a week. Yes, me and my daughter thought we were going to be there all week. We were worried about what time we were going to be home. It was set for a week, but they found enough evidence in 3 days. Sent him to trial, and that's right. you know, because they didn't even have to call all their witnesses that they were going to call and have testify. Kay came, Sarah's mom, saw her in the courtroom. She came. She didn't testify. Dorothy Starkey was supposed to testify and didn't. Brandi said there were other neighbors or something that were going to testify and didn't. So 3 days is all it took to find enough evidence. And they used a smidge of it. And there's 20,000 pages of discovery. It's so important to protect Brandi. It is. And she needs all the love in the world. The whole Vaughn family does. So again, I just want to read something that I wrote. And I don't know where this tickle's coming from. Hold on a second. Let me take a little sip. I hope I'm not getting sick. I hate being sick. Okay. Just read this that I wrote for Monkey's Army. And that's how we're leaving tonight. We just want the Vaughn family to know that we're thinking about them. We love them. My favorite pictures of Michael are right here. Him in his red shirt playing. He's just so cute. Brandi and Tyler, you are both remarkable parents who've been advocating for justice for Monkey. Despite your unbelievable pain, you've both shown incredible strength and resilience, using your voices to raise awareness and push for answers. In interviews and public statements, you've expressed determination to keep fighting for Monkey, even when the process seems to be slow. You've been open about your emotions, from panic and grief and guilt to determination and hope. Your strength is not just about advocating for justice, but also about keeping Monkey's memory alive. Brandi and Tyler, your strength and love for Monkey is inspiring to us all. Monkey's Army is thinking of you and your family, standing with you in this fight for justice. Keep holding on to hope and know that you are not alone. You are doing everything you can, and that's something to be proud of. We're Monkey's Army. We're here for you whenever you need us. We love you. We're never going to stop. Call us anytime. You have some of our phone numbers. Your sissies, me, just letting you and the whole Vaughn family know how much we think about all of you, how much we love Michael, how sad we are that this happened to you and your family. No one could ever possibly imagine, unless they have gone through it themselves, how devastating this is, especially when it was such a horrific thing that happened to Michael. Hearing all of these details couldn't have possibly been easy. It's given nightmares to your family. You guys are so strong. You really have inspired so many people. And we want to be here. We want to be here. Tell Buggy that I love her. Tell Pidge that I love her. Tell Bubba that I love him. Tyler, Brandi, I love you. Everybody here in chat loves you all. We're never going to give up. We're never going to forget about Michael. We're never going to forget about Michael. I think about all of you so much. So many more. Or so many times of the day. You guys cross my mind. I know it's like that for other people too, because, you know, We love you guys. We really do. Look at little monkey holding his brother's hand, walking down the street, hanging out with his brother, sitting in his little car. I got to see the inside of that garage and see all the tools and stuff. Monkey's beautiful face, beautiful smile, share, licking on that ice cream. I know there was some story about, Buggy had ice cream. I think it was for the first time. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what I heard, is that when they went to have ice cream that day, Buggy had ice cream for the first time and she had it everywhere. And Michael thought it was hilarious. Thank you guys so much for coming in. We'll finish up all of the news coverage on Monday, either before or after Purple does Monkey Monday on the round table. So please, if you haven't already, go over, subscribe to the round table, go over and watch Monkey Mondays. Purple and Wendy have been doing this together for a long time. You're in your feels. I think everybody's in their feelings. It's been a rough couple of weeks. I am going to take some time to decompress this weekend. If I do decide not to go live Monday, I hope you guys all understand. It would actually give me some time to work on some other stuff, but I'll do my best. If I still feel like I need to decompress or hop on my bike or go lift some weights at the gym, I have not been taking care of my healthy side as far as my workouts, and I might just need that to decompress. So I love you guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting Michael Vaughn. Thank you for supporting the Vaughn family. I know they really appreciate it. And please, if you have any tips, please call it into the Fruitland tip line 208-642-6006, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org. Have a great night, everybody.